My name is Paul Rosalie, and today I'm headed into the jungle to show you a place very few people have gotten to see.
Paul, come here. Check this out.
Some images of an uncontacted indigenous tribe, Mashco Piro, were published. The tribe resides in the remote Peruvian Amazon.
Hey!
While I can't imagine one day in isolation, there are people, tribes, and groups living alone in conditions no one would believe or even possible.
That's incredible. Look at that.
Yeah.
Hang on with me as we explore the incredible last surviving members of the most isolated tribes out there. In the strange woods of Indonesia, known to be some of the scariest places on Earth, a group of friends ventured out one evening with their cameras, eager to capture the wild. They wanted to go there for animals, but ended up capturing a lot more. As they walked deeper into the dense forest, there they saw standing perfectly still a figure draped in red. It looked like a statue. At first, the friends thought it might be someone in a costume, but as they got closer, they realized the figure's arms were unnaturally thin, so it definitely was not a human. At least by the looks of it, I'm sure.
Look at that.
Yeah. Looks like it's stationary.
However, some people on Reddit said he could be part of the hunter-gatherer tribes of Indonesia. The last survivor. Deep within the Amazon rainforest, there's a man whose story fascinates everyone who hears it. He's believed to be the last survivor of his tribe, and for more than 22 years, he's lived alone, unseen by the outside world. No one knows his name or where he came from. Every month, a team ventures into his territory to check on him to see if he's okay. They navigate through the dense forest, listening for the sound of his axe cutting through trees. It's a sign that he's still there, still holding on. He's mastered the art of survival in the wild, living off the land and adapting to every challenge the jungle throws at him. His existence is a mystery and a marvel, a testament to human resilience and the bond between man and nature. Neanderthal? This next video will surely shock you. It looks a bit strange, right? In a remote part of Brazil, a tribesman looking like a Neanderthal was spotted dancing joyfully in the forest. Neanderthals were supposed to be the first humans, but are assumed to be extinct now. Or are they? It seemed like there was a celebration going on. Maybe it was a rare party. The tribesman moved with a natural rhythm, as if connecting to the ancient roots of human history. His dance was full of energy and happiness. It really was a powerful display of life and culture. People watched him, and the air was filled with the sounds of the forest and the lively movements of the dancer. First contact. In 1973, Jean-Pierre Dutilleux ventured into the dense Amazon rainforest to meet with the Tuxcarame, a fierce tribe of the Kayapo known as those who hit with sticks. I don't know which name sounds scarier, jeez. This tribe lived deep in the untamed region of Mato Grosso in Brazil, and few outsiders had ever dared to approach them. As Jean-Pierre crossed the river, he encountered the tribe. They greeted him warmly, shaking hands as a gesture of welcome. There were no sticks involved, as the name would have suggested. Soon, they engaged in conversation, sharing stories and learning about each other's cultures. And the best part, when the host of the documentary showed the tribesmen how to light a matchstick. Amazing! Brazilian rainforest alien. In a small village in Brazil, a tourist was filming a group of kids who were excitedly talking about an alien-like creature they'd seen in the woods. As the kids shared their story, one of them suddenly pointed to the distance, spotting the creature again. The tourist turned the camera towards where the kid was pointing. There, in the distance, stood the strange creature. It looked exactly as the kids had described. It had an alien-like appearance. Nearby, on the right side of the creature, a blue light was coming from out of the woods. It seemed like it could be the creature's home, or perhaps even its spaceship. What do you think? Drunk Yeti. In the snowy forests of Northern Ireland, something truly bizarre was witnessed by some locals from a nearby area. While on a routine trek to collect some herbs for medical purposes, there they witnessed a Yeti appear. Surprisingly, it was behaving oddly. The creature seemed to be shaking something vigorously. It held a large object, though it was unclear what it was. The Yeti's movements were strange, almost as if it were drunk. It moved around and stumbled. It was clear that the Yeti was struggling to maintain its balance. During one particularly clumsy moment, that Yeti slipped and fell, tumbling into the snow. The sight of a drunken Yeti shaking an unknown object and then slipping was really strange. No monkey. This cyclist wearing a GoPro on his helmet was recording his journey when he witnessed an unfamiliar creature. The bizarre thing leaps from a tree, nearly grazing the cyclist's head. At first, people thought it was a monkey. However, upon closer inspection of the slowed-down video, this creature appears too large and strange. It appears to be a monkey that emits strange sounds. The cyclist was initially shocked by the creature's sudden appearance, so he slowed down to get a better look. He maneuvers cautiously, keeping the camera focused on the creature as it moves. Could it be a new species of monkey, a mutated animal, or something from folklore come to life? We are eager to find it out. Running from cannibal. I feel like all of this is getting to be too much, so let's watch something lighthearted. And there isn't anything more lighthearted than being chased by a cannibal. Back in 2021, a man in Africa was recording himself as he explored a dense forest. He was talking about the weather and the lush greenery around him. As he moved to the right, he noticed something strange in the video. It looked like a statue covered in white paint and frozen in place. When he pointed his camera towards it, the statue suddenly started running toward him. Terrifying, right? Well, don't worry too much. This scene was staged. However, tribes that practice cannibalism do indeed exist. In some cases, they practice endocannibalism. Batak tribe. Meet the Batak tribe that lives in the jungles of northeastern Palawan. This is a small indigenous group in the Philippines. Their story is as mysterious as it is fascinating, with only around 450 Batak remaining today. This tribe has petite stature, dark skin, and curly afro-textured hair, so they stand out in their natural habitat. Living off the land, the Batak practice hunting and gathering, along with slash-and-burn farming. They trade forest goods with maritime communities. What's surprising about them is that, unlike some tribes, the Batak are open to outsiders. Their men also work alongside others in tasks like harvesting and clearing. Dalala tribe. In the depths of the Amazon rainforest lies the mysterious Dalala tribe. This group is entirely untouched by modern life. Back in 1996, Brazilian explorer Sidney Passuelo and journalist Paul Rafael first made contact with them. They said the tribe's way of life was almost like stepping back in time. The Dalala people are just 150 in the main group, with a smaller offshoot of 24. They live in communal huts known as malokas. They rely on hunting with clubs and poison darts. They work up to 5 hours a day to sustain themselves. What makes them unique is the rejection of modern weapons and religion. They instead opt for traditional practices. Some reports mention customs like infanticide, and both men and women paint themselves with red dye. Despite their isolation, they thrive on a diet of corn, fish, birds, wild pigs, and fruits, supplemented by basic agriculture. Cujoreño people. There's another small, nomadic Amazonian tribe that is thriving, even though it's very small in number. They are known as the Cujoreño people, or Namole people. They call the remote corners of Peru's Manu National Park their home and speak a dialect of the Puro language. With a population estimated between 100 and 250 today, they've seen an increase from about 20 to 100 individuals since the 1970s. Fascinating, right? Seems like not all tribes are in danger. However, it is important to note that their history is marked by tragedy. In the 1890s, they faced a devastating attack by Peruvian forces, pushing survivors deeper into the rainforest, where they've chosen to remain isolated ever since. While they generally avoid contact with outsiders, there have been reports of some seeking food from nearby villagers. Appalachian creature. While hiking through the Appalachian Mountains, these hikers came across something strange. As they walked along the path, they noticed a small figure hiding behind a tree trunk. They became curious, so they approached it quietly. Peeking out from behind the tree was the thing with a white face and black eyes. It was very small, too small to make sense of what it really was. The thing seemed curious too, as it was occasionally peeking out to watch the hikers. Chimu tribe. Deep in the rugged mountains of Papua New Guinea's central highlands, we can find the Chimu, or Simbu people. They were named Simbu by Australian explorers in the 1930s. Instead of traditional villages, the Simbu have created small settlements with unique oval houses. Believe me, their homes are really fascinating. They have low thatched roofs and walls woven from flattened reeds, with dirt floors. Men typically live together in communal houses, while women, children, and their prized pigs reside separately. Yes, to these people, their pigs are the most important things in the world. They are used in ceremonies marking significant life events like births, marriages, and even deaths. They have this Bugla Ingu ceremony, which especially stands out. During this, hundreds of pigs are ritually slaughtered, cooked, and shared among tribes to strengthen community bonds. Mudmen tribe. Usually, being called a mudman would be a big insult, but not to this Papua New Guinea tribe, found in the Goroka province. The Asaro tribe is famously known as the Mudmen. This small group of people have a fascinating tradition wrapped in ancient legends. When they faced threats from enemy tribes, they found refuge along the banks of the Asaro River. There, they encountered a mysterious figure who granted them a powerful way of attack. As night fell, a chosen warrior emerged from the river, and he was covered in mud. It resembled a spirit. Mistaking him for a vengeful ghost, their enemies fled in fear, believing they were cursed. He returned to their village where the Asaro worshipped him. On the other hand, the enemies crafted masks from pebbles, fearing the river's mud was poisonous. These masks became symbols of respect and protection, worn to ward off evil spirits. Mysterious mountain man.
A mysterious mountain man who lived for years alone deep in the heart of a Tennessee forest.
It's totally not normal to live your whole life only with dogs, right? Well, not for this mysterious man. Deep in the Tennessee woods of Natchez Trace State Park lived Tony, a man with 31 dogs. For 16 years, these dogs were his only family. Can you believe that? They shared their lives with him through hot summers and cold winters, always coming when he called. As Tony's health began to decline, those who cared about him urged him to leave the forest. But Tony wouldn't abandon his pack. He needed to be sure they were safe and loved before he could think about himself. Tony trusted the Animal Rescue Corps, led by Scotland Hasley, to find good homes for his dogs. And with their promise, he finally decided to leave the woods.
Welcome to the team, Tony. He was a very rich in character individual.
Chukchi people. In northeastern Siberia live the Chukchi people. The weird thing about this tribe is that it's divided into two main groups, the reindeer Chukchi and the maritime Chukchi, and both groups thrive in their respective terrains. Reindeer Chukchi skillfully herd their reindeer across the icy plains. These majestic animals serve as their lifeline, providing transportation, food, and warmth in the severe Arctic conditions. On the other hand, the maritime Chukchi are experts of the sea. They are great at hunting marine mammals and navigating the dangerous waters in their sturdy boats crafted from animal skins. Now, you must be thinking, what's the beef between the two subtribes? Here's the thing, there is no beef. Despite their different lifestyles, both groups share a deep spiritual connection with nature and are in harmony with one another. Cargo cult. Here's one of the most fascinating and unusual groups today, the cargo cult. And no, they're not people who wear cargo pants all the time. That's actually another cult. During World War II, American soldiers operated a military base on Ifate, a nearby island. The locals were inspired when they saw black American soldiers handling the cargo. This led to the creation of new religions, one of the most famous being the John Frum movement. Members of this cult worship an American serviceman named John Frum. He introduced himself as John from America, and now, every year on February 15th, they celebrate John Frum Day. When you thought humans couldn't be any more fascinating, you find this group worshiping someone who gave them gifts. During the ceremony, men paint USA on their chests, raise the American flag, and perform a mix of military drills and traditional dances. First time. In Africa, a group of tourists were exploring the area with their drone. As they started filming, the drone accidentally flew into a local woman's home. When the woman saw the drone, she began screaming, clearly frightened. It seemed like she'd never seen a drone before. Thinking it was some kind of an alien, she ran away, still screaming. Mysterious humanoid. This next video, taken on a bright day in Arizona, shows a few dirt bikers who were enjoying their ride through rugged terrain. Suddenly, one of them was knocked off balance by a strange humanoid being. The bike crashed and the rider fell, but the creature seemed unaffected and continued running at a very fast speed. The other bikers decided to follow the creature to see what it was. They sped after it, but the creature was too fast as it easily outpaced their bikes. It moved with an agility and speed that seemed impossible for any human or animal they knew. Despite their best efforts, the bikers couldn't catch up. That creature disappeared into the bushes, leaving them curious and filled with questions. Uncontacted tribesmen. Moving on, let's travel to the heart of the Amazon rainforest, where something extraordinary happened in 2014. An uncontacted tribesman was seen quietly standing among the trees. He was holding a large indigenous tool, curiously smelling it, when he suddenly noticed the man recording him from a distance. The tribesman, who was intrigued but cautious, observed the outsider for a moment. Then he quickly ran back into the dense forest, vanishing as swiftly as he had appeared. After some research, he was believed to be from the Awa people. It is one of the most endangered tribes in the world, which faces constant threats from loggers who invade their land. Bows and arrows. Deep in the rainforest along the Brazilian-Peruvian border, there lived a mysterious tribe whose body paint, diet, camp construction, language, and social structure were all unknown. Pictures caught from the plane show these humans with tools. They are fascinated by the sight of the plane. They even have their bows and arrows with them, and they seem to color their bodies with red, maybe as part of a ritual. But even with all of these fascinating and somewhat modern tools and rituals, the tribe is believed to have had no contact with the outside world. These people face grave dangers from illegal logging in Peru, and their numbers have been dwindling. Unlike most tribes that stay hidden, this group was known to be hostile, attacking anyone who came near. Banana Boys. A tourist visiting Ethiopia was fascinated by a unique lifestyle he encountered. While exploring a local village, he met a group of boys practicing stick exercises. He decided to interview them.
Your name?
The boys explained that these stick exercises were a traditional practice. Originally, they were developed to protect themselves from snakes and other dangers. The boys belonged to the Banana tribe. Interesting name, right? Weirdly, it was actually named for their agility and resilience. As the tourist watched, he noticed how skillfully the boys moved. They explained that this training not only helped them defend against threats, but also built their strength and coordination. You expect to see a lot of things on vacations. However, coming across a lost tribe is probably nowhere on the list. There really are some fascinating wonders out there in the world. A lost tribe. Some tourists were exploring the remote areas of Guinea. They were finding newspapers there to have some smoke. Why, you ask? Well, in these remote parts, newspapers are considered a valuable gift because the villagers use them to roll their strong, raw tobacco. They came in contact with the lost tribe, and they asked the tribe for a newspaper. The tribe didn't understand what they were asking for, and the tourists quickly realized they'd never seen a newspaper before. However, this tribe used dried leaves as cigarette wrappers. They accepted the newspapers but seemed confused, treating them more like a strange memento. Seeing this, one of the tourists, Lori, decided to offer salt instead. This was much better received. Along with some cigarettes made from newspapers by the police, the tribe seemed happy and intrigued. They really became friends in such a short amount of time. Skinwalker. A group of friends was exploring a forest in Australia. Suddenly, they noticed something strange among the trees. At first, it seemed like a person standing still, but then it dropped to all fours and crawled toward them in a creepy, zombie-like way.
Just some cruisers, man. Just crawling at me like it's goddamn.
When the video was shared to Reddit, many people believed it was a hobbit-like creature, while others said it was most probably a skinwalker. Strange noises. These few friends went camping deep in the woods. They sat around the fire, chatting and enjoying their night. Suddenly, they heard strange noises from a distance. Now, hearing strange noises is the most terrifying when you're out in the woods and there's no light. The sound started as loud bangs and then turned into disturbing grunts and calls. One of the friends grabbed his phone and started recording.
Hey!
That was not an elk.
As they listened, the noises grew louder and more unsettling. "Get the light, Trevor," one of them said. The bangs were powerful, and the grunts sounded eerie, almost human-like, but too loud to be from a person.
Get my keys.
One of them thought it was calling for help. However, they all quickly decided to pack up and get back to the safety of their truck. Large Sasquatch. In the early morning of May 30th, 2024, a trucker named Dave was picking up equipment near the Sunchild First Nation Reservation in Alberta, Canada. Dave parked his truck at a rural industrial site northwest of Rocky Mountain House and stepped out to start loading. As he walked toward the equipment, he saw something shocking. A massive figure standing at the edge of the site. This creature was easily between 11 and 13 feet tall, meaning it definitely wasn't human. Dave thought to himself that it could be a Sasquatch. Fear gripped him, so he ran back to his truck and quickly drove away. His dash camera was still recording, and fortunately, it captured the image of the beast. Just look at the finer details. No way this video's fake. Walking on all fours.
The immediate response I had was that I couldn't believe my eyes.
There's nothing more fascinating than encountering something unknown and it suddenly drops to all fours. But this family takes it even further. In a quiet village in Turkey, the Ulas family lives a life that has fascinated scientists and the public alike. This family, unlike any other, has some members who walk on all four limbs, using their hands and feet in a bear crawl. A researcher visited them to learn more about them. They found out that this unique way of walking has been passed down for generations. The Ulas family members are kind and welcoming. They explain how walking on all fours feels natural to them, despite it being unusual to the rest of the world. The giants of West Africa. Let's now visit the area where every person could qualify to be a baller. In the vast savannas of Senegal, the Wolof people stand very tall, averaging 6 feet in height. And they're not just a few people, they number about 3 million. Imagine how weird it would be if a person born is shorter than 6 feet. They're known as the giants of West Africa. Art flourishes in Wolof communities, from exquisite wood carvings to vibrant textiles. Akunsu tribe. Brazil harbors some of the most remote tribes out there. But this one really takes the cake for me. Meet the Akunsu. They were nearly wiped out in the 1980s by cattle ranchers afraid of losing their land. The tribe now numbers just 4. Yes, you heard that right, just 4 people. Once thriving, the Akunsu were reduced to 7 members by the late 1990s. They live as hunter-gatherers supplemented by some farming. They are striving to survive in their remote forest home. As time passed, their elders, including the shaman, also passed away, leaving only 4 survivors. Their appearance is amazing as well. The Akunsu fight to preserve their unique culture and language. Do you think they will be able to make it? Mochen tribe. Moving away from Brazil, let's now travel over to East Asia. Between Thailand and Burma lives a fascinating group known as the Mochen. They can trace their roots back 6,000 years to southern China before settling across various South Asian islands. Today, about 2,000 to 3,000 Mochen lead a semi-nomadic life closely tied to the sea. They live mostly off the land and sea. The Mochen face challenges from modern laws and immigration that threaten their traditional lifestyle and culture. Despite these challenges, some Mochen children now attend regular schools. So they are blending old traditions with new ways. On Surin Island, Mochen continue their traditional fishing methods, using spears and nets. They trade their catches for essentials and maintain their unique way of life. Night Marcher. In Hawaiian legends, there's a spooky tale about the Night Marchers. And trust me, you don't want to bump into them, especially at night. They're said to be the spirits of ancient Hawaiian warriors, rising from the graves or the sea on sacred nights. Creepy, right? Well, it gets even worse. On some nights, when the moon casts strange shadows, figures appear of men in old battle gear. They march, dressed in feathered helmets, holding clubs and spears, like a scene from an ancient battlefield. The Night Marchers are like the guardians of Hawaiian history. Aghori tribe. In Uttar Pradesh, India, the Aghori people live a life that's quite different from what most of us are used to. This small group, with about 70 members, has unique practices that blend life and death. Instead of typical funerals, they cover themselves with ashes from cremation fires. If you think that's all, well, you're in for a surprise. They believe these rituals have healing powers, allowing them to transfer health and remove illness from others. To them, this healing process reflects their advanced state of body and mind. Yes, the Aghori think they're better than everyone else. I guess they haven't met Canadians yet. They don't seek approval or recognition. They live quietly, scattered across India, Nepal, and parts of Southeast Asia. Wolfman. One late night back in December 2022, a strange creature was caught on camera at a zoo in Texas. The footage showed something unusual standing in the shadows. It looked like a goat, but there was something odd about it. It had horns, but its size and stance were different from a regular goat. Some thought it might be a goat man, a creature from local legends. The zoo staff quickly checked the camera footage and were shocked because it was actually real. The creature seemed to be watching the animals, as if planning something. Crouching Skinwalker. One quiet night in Chicago, when people were just going about their day, this mysterious creature was seen walking the streets. It was caught on a street cam, moving oddly down the road. The figure moved strangely, almost like a shadow. It looked human, but seemed different. It was definitely different, I'll say that. The video is short, so not much can be concluded, but people on Reddit were sure that it was an urban skinwalker. These are the beings that live in cities and have shape-shifting abilities. Tall alien. Sara Dalete and her family were hiking on a Brazilian island, enjoying their beautiful day. Suddenly, Sarah noticed something strange up on the mountain. She saw this tall figure in the distance. If you zoom in on the video, you'll realize that the figure looked like an alien and was about 10 feet tall. It was moving slowly, walking up the mountain. The family stopped in their tracks. Sarah quickly pulled out her camera, hoping to take a picture before it disappeared. Now that is something I wouldn't want to encounter on a hiking trip. The subscriber's pick. In a Vietnamese forest, a group of local men were on a hunt for an animal. There were reports that this animal had grabbed a kid from a nearby village and taken it deep in the forest. When people went to capture it, they realized it was really grim. It wasn't an animal, it was actually a slimy humanoid creature that had been. It was seen hiding behind a tree. It had limbs like that of a human, but the body was pale. When the men flashed it with light, the thing was startled. What do you think this creature is?